What's up, guys? Mark here.
Wes, and this is Trash Talk.
Yep.
Well, today we're going to cover two...
Flies. A fly.
I know, flies are everywhere.
Sorry for doing all this because there's a fly flying around.
So. Know how flies are annoying.
Yeah. I killed one earlier. It was great. All right, continue.
Yeah, there were two of them. There were two of them earlier, so... Like this review, there's two... There's two...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great segue, actually. Get away from me. Okay.
Well, anyway, today we're going to be covering the Ouya game console and the Nintendo 2DS.
Yep.
Nintendo 2DS, coming October 12th.
Because there's something that we find interesting about them, but also kind of off-putting about them, too.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Ouya first.
All right.
Would you like to start, Marcelo?
Let me see if I can, because I don't know. Even though we went over some reviews earlier, I still don't know too much about the Ouya, so I'll just try and cover as much as I can. So, when actually did it come out? We didn't even look that up. It came out at some point. Actually,
it came out early. It came out early, like during the summer of this year. Okay. And pretty much what it is, it's supposed to be a revolutionary game console to where you can play. It's pretty much for indie games. And what you can do on it is, well, pretty much you can go online, find some indie games that are like that you want to play, and then play it on there. And this is also a very interesting thing. If you like indie games that much to where you want to make your own, they do have an option on there.
Yeah.
That says make, in which you can pretty much manage your in which you can go online and look up different apps on the Ouya, and then you can also construct your own indie game in which you can put out there in the Ouya system, which is really cool. So that way, other people with the Ouya can play on the games and all that, which is really cool.
So that's awesome.
Well, and at $99, it's really cheap. Mm-hmm. So one plus is that, and then you can just play a whole bunch of games that you want.
It's another plus. Being able to make your own games, that's really cool. It's something I've really wanted to do, is kind of make little kinds of cheap games like that. So that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and then pretty much it's split into 4 different sections. Play, in which you can play on games that you recently recently played or really want to play or buy on this at the game store, which is called Discover, which is the second option on the Ouya, in which you can go online and find games that you want. Just be searching around and then buy them. And then third one is Make, and I already told you about that one. And then there's Manage, which is the 4th option, which is pretty much just the settings. And about the settings are very similar to Android systems. So if you're really, if you're used to using Android systems like Android phones or something like that, then you should be covered on that. It should be really easy for you. Now, the problem is with the Ouya,
there are some fallbacks.
There are pretty much some fallbacks. For one, the controller is not that great. It's pretty much like a cheap version of of the Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah.
And in several reviews, they said it looks like an Xbox 360 controller, but once they pick it up, they feel it's not. It's like a cheap off brand of this. So
don't they say it feels like a lot lighter than? Let me see. Let me feel like the density here.
It's pretty light.
Yeah. For an Xbox controller, it feels just like a controller would with all its with all its innards in it and such. But according to reviews,
it's like the controller is still solid. Mm-hmm. It's just that it feels very cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap compared to this thing.
Pretty much. And the fly just I thought the fly landed on the controller and then went right off
damn nope. Flies. Alright.
Okay, well anyway.
So anyway, that's one fallback. And then it has been suffering some issues with like a low graphics generator, in which the graphics are not the best, guys. Mm-hmm. So that's one reason to kind of stay away from the Ouya. But pretty much our verdict for the Ouya.
Oh, we should save both the verdicts for later.
Okay.
It's the very end of the video.
All right.
To keep it organized.
Alright, so pretty much that was the Ouya, and then the second system we're talking about is the Nintendo 2DS.
The 2DS. I think I know more about that, so I think I'll talk more about that. So, it came out sometime, also around the mid this year.
Yeah, during the summer.
The summer.
Late summer, early fall.
I think they said around August?
Yeah.
Late August, they said, is when it was released. Yeah. Now, the 2DS, from what I've heard and what he's read, is that it's not... The 2DS is more designed for or intended, I should say, for a younger demographic, like smaller kids, at least around 7 years of age or, a little younger. So in that sense, I can see why they would even release something like this, because like lots of other people, when I first heard of the 2DS, I thought it was a bit of a joke. I thought
because it's pretty much, oh yeah, you can play 3D as games, but no 3D.
Okay, yeah, I'll even expand on that. But what I was going to say was, when I first saw the trailer for the 2DS, I literally thought it was a parody. I thought someone was making a parody of the 3DS and was going to make it kind of dumb, but then the guy was very sophisticated in saying what it was about, and I'm like,
oh, this is real.
This is a thing. Okay, I'm really excited to see what this is about. Now, like Wes just said earlier, and of course by its name, it's the 2DS, so it's only for 2D games. It's essentially a 3DS without the 3D.
And there's a reason for that. Pretty much with the 3DS, in which I have one right here.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, this is a 3DS XL.
Yeah.
It's a Pokemon X.
Are you gonna walk? Wait.
I'll bring it closer for you guys. There we go.
There you go.
See it? Alright, well, I was lucky. This was the last one at the GameStop I went to. They said it was the last one. And interesting story, and this actually plays out really well. What I was originally heading in there for was a 2DS. That's when I was getting Pokemon, because my brother got me Pokemon X. He got half of it pre-ordered for me for my birthday. And I thought, oh, that was nice. But he had his own 3DS, but he wasn't gonna let me use mine. So I thought, well, I have some money saved up at the bank. I should buy myself a Nintendo DS of some sort. But then he told me that the 2DS was cheaper, so I should just get that. So I thought, and I looked at pictures of it. It looked okay. I didn't know, it didn't close or anything. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but it's cheap. So, but I didn't know how exactly cheap it was. I thought it was like $160, $150. So when I came in, I saw it was only like $130. They were advertising it like Nintendo 2DS,
really
$130.
Cheap. Yeah.
So it was like, that's very cheap. That's not as cheap as the Ouya, but still pretty cheap. And so I went in, and then I saw they had, again, these. So I was
special Pokemon X and Y version
for edition. I think it was like $220, but I did have the money for it. And so I thought,
sleek design, bro.
I know, it's really nice.
It is fucking badass.
Well, anyway, so I went in and pretty much I asked them, hey, how many more of those red ones do you have? Oh, we only have one left. It's like, really? And they had like a lot of... They had like a lot of blue ones, but they only had one red one. And seeing as I like red more than blue, I got the last one. Pretty much, that's it. That's the end of the story.
Taken away from the story, he was going to buy a 2DS, but found that to be more...
Because it did look interesting.
Yeah.
And, pretty much like the reaction to the 2DS is that it looks cheap. And in many ways, it looks cheap. I mean, look at this. Made by the same company by Nintendo. Looks freaking damn awesome, right? Then you look at the 2DS, it doesn't look as impressive and cheap. But then, after doing some research, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be for really young kids starting out into video games.
Yeah, it's not really for, like, us, like, veterans of other kinds of Nintendo
and then,
games / like, consoles. So.
And then, the reason why they had it just open like this and not have, like, the closing clamshell deal that normal DSs would have, is because usually children that young, they like to break stuff, and they break stuff often. Kids, right? They always break crap. Not excluding me. I broke stuff when I was little. I'm pretty sure Marcelo broke crap when he was little.
Not that I remember, but I'm pretty sure.
He still breaks stuff now.
What did I break recently?
Oh, I remember you told me one time that you sat on a chair and broke it.
Yeah, it was already unstable, so I didn't choose.
You still broke it.
I didn't choose to break it. Back to the 2DS.
Alright, well, anyway, interesting story, by the way. So anyway...
I'll tell it later. Jesus,
so anyway,
get on with it.
by getting rid of the moving pivot and a lot of moving parts on it, kids are not going to be able to break it.
Yeah.
And they say it's a lot more durable than these. So, pretty much if you're a little kid gamer and you want to start out with video games...
That could be the way to go.
That could be the way to go with
if I
the
can
2DS.
say that real quick, though. Something else I want to point out is on the model of the 2DS. Now, this is this pretty much just in the way this looks is how the 2DS looks. If you can just envision that, if you've really not seen the
design.
the
size of a regular 3DS.
Yeah.
Well,
because this is the XL.
Yeah.
But I'll come a little bit closer. So some of the buttons, like the circle pad, the D pad, and even I think some of the buttons, like the X, Y, whatever else, BA buttons, they're featured up here. They're placed here on the 2DS, up at the top instead of obviously here at the bottom. So, and even the start and select buttons too are located in a different spot. So like if maybe you've handled a 3DS, but you don't maybe not have owned one or whatever, but you have a 2DS and now you're trying to get used to those controls, like in the sense of where they're placed, it could be a little confusing at first.
Yeah,
I don't really see why they
they did that. They moved the buttons over on the 2DS, so it for those that have played a regular DS and now switching to a 2DS, it's gonna be really confusing at first because you kind of have to know that you have to get used to the layout.
Yeah.
Because it's a little higher up than it usually is.
Yeah. So it can get a bit confusing.
So yeah. But with everything said, the 2DS does look really good. And looks a lot better than what the Ouya is.
Yeah, in that sense,
the Ouya is okay, but it's not. But what it was trying to do was to kind of push up against the competitors like Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
Pretty much, if you're considering the Ouya over an Xbox 360 or PS3, or even the new ones like PS4,
and Xbox One,
even Xbox One and the Wii U.
Yeah.
Get those systems. Don't get the Ouya.
Yeah, that's kind of our recommendation.
Unless you kind of like that idea about playing indie games and all that, then I would suggest getting the Ouya.
So if I may be able to say now for the 2DS, something that I've actually thought about right when I heard about it, why exactly did the 2DS need to be made? Because I've seen lots of little kids running around with, or like at restaurants sometimes while they're waiting for their food, they'll play a 3DS, and that's exactly why the little toggle, let me see again, the little toggle on the 3DS is for, right here, look it. You've got a toggle to go, if you're a little bit closer, this little toggle here, for up, a little bit up more, see if I can do it, for 3D and then for 2D. So, I don't understand why you would build a whole console around that concept. If you don't want to play 3D, play in regular, vision, 2D. I don't see why this had to be made, and now of course it's cheaper, so more affordable and everything, but it pretty much functions exactly like a 3DS, so why not just buy a 3DS? I mean...
If it has that... Well, that makes a good point. So in the end here, it seems that we have one console that's trying to be groundbreaking and rise above the competitors.
It kind of fails at it.
That fails because of some setbacks. And then we have one system that shouldn't even really exist. That
tries to improve upon
one concept of
predecessor.
When it doesn't really need to, because this is already...
It's perfect the way it is.
It's perfect the way it's good enough.
Well, yeah.
So pretty much, what's your verdict on the Ouya and?
Also mine first? Okay, so on the Ouya, from what we've never experienced either of these consoles. It's just what we've seen and heard and read about them. So for the Ouya, I would have to say maybe my verdict would be a 3 out of 5 because, like we've been saying, it has its good features. Like you can make your games. That's kind of something I would like to experience. I would buy it maybe for that only. I mean, I'll play some of the games that it's got to offer just to see what it has to offer. But besides that, it's got its flaws really do show and all that. So a 3 out of 5 for the Ouya. For the 2DS, I don't know. I'd probably have to say a 2.75 out of 5. Because I really just don't get the point of this console. There was absolutely no reason why it had to be made if you really think about it. Because like I said, there are already kids, little kids with a 3DS. So if the parents are already willing right then and there, even before this was announced, to buy that kind of console for their kids, and now the reason also why this was made was because like maybe the 3D will hurt their eyes, which like a lot of complaints about the 3DS.
But then again, it has the toggle on it.
There's the toggle, so I mean like you don't have to. And I play mostly all my 3DS in 2D mode. Like I hardly use the 3D. I do it once in a while just because I like the effect, but the 2D is my way to go, and I don't see why this 2DS had to be made. Really.
Oh really? I go on 3D mode. I'm opposite of this guy.
I mean, I don't hate the 3D. This is a new kind of 3D. Like
to where you don't need glasses and that kind of crap, and then like it's just like and that's like 3D that you can see and actually looks really good. Well, looks really impressive.
You can experience it in a more realistic kind of way, I guess.
Like with one game example, Pokemon X and Y.
We're not getting paid to say that or anything, but it's pretty good for the latest Pokemon. So yeah, but those are my verdicts for those consoles. So what are your verdicts?
All right, my verdict is 3 out of 5 for the Ouya.
3 out of 5? You said 3.
Yeah. Sorry. 3 out of 5. I'm sorry for my gibberish. For the Ouya, because pretty much for the same point, and it could have been a little bit better, and it is cheap. So it's okay because it's only cheap. So I won't give it a lower score because of that, but it could have been so much better. And then with the 2DS, I'm gonna be a little bit more lenient with the score. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 10 for the 2DS.
5.
What?
You said 3.5 out of 10.
Oh, 3.5 out of 5. I'm screwing up today. Well, anyway, okay. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 because even though like it doesn't have that, it didn't really need to be made. It is very it's very cheap. It's more durable than normal 3DS. It's cheaper and pretty much, and it's a really good solid gaming system. No matter what you say about it, it's very solid. Yeah. So yeah, it's a 3.5 out of 5 for the 2DS.
Okay. Because just for my opinion, I just kind of find it a little bit pointless for this console. But again, we're entitled to our opinions. You're entitled to yours. So if you think this is the greatest, next best kind of version of a handheld from Nintendo,
we won't agree with you.
Yeah, but you go and do your thing. So that's that.
Alright, well, I'm Wes.
Hold on, we gotta make a little message of the. This marks the end of Arc 2 of Trash Talk. We've been going over some really cool stuff. You've all experienced my whole Crash Bandicoot thing by now, so you know my feelings on that. I'm going to try as hard as I can to really act for/against those respective things. Again, those are my opinions as well, so please don't blow up our video with all this whatever is better than whatever. Those are your opinions.
Especially about Skylander is amazing. You'll set this guy off and then he'll punish me for it. Don't make my life a living hell.
If you want to see this guy again alive, say nothing about Skylanders. That is all.
And for those that have not seen that video, you might need to watch it.
Yeah, so that way. Pretty much join us soon for Arc 3 of Trash Talk. We're not exactly sure what if there's going to be like another topic, like maybe kinds of like retro games or other kinds of like a specific genre. We're still figuring that out, but we'll let you guys know as soon as we've got all that figured out. So basically, just we'll be updating you guys and subscribe and everything. So I'm Mark.
I'm Wes.
And this was Arc 2 of Trash Talk.
Bye, guys.
Arc 2 is over.
It's okay.
2DS brings the fun to you wherever you go. Nintendo 2DS, coming October 12th.